Thanks, dear colleagues. It will be right after the Madrid Climate Summit that the heads of state and government are going to meet in Brussels. And I hope they take some of the Madrid spirit along with them, because I'm sure they will have heard a lot of urgency from the other governments coming from small island states, coming from coastal states, coming from countries and continents that are not as wealthy and prosperous as the European Union is overall. So I hope they take along that urgency and then put it and convert it into some real action. Because after Madrid, the real action has to start. As it stands right now, not a single one of the European member states has submitted a national greenhouse gas reduction plan that would be adequate or any way of sufficient in order to reach the Paris Agreement targets. But also the EU targets are far from sufficient. In fact, they were agreed already in 2014, so that was before the Paris summit. Clearly, we need to step up the game, because Europe right now does not lead the game. We're looking for elsewhere. We're telling other countries that they should do something, but that doesn't work. We need to act ourselves. We cannot wait for others to act. And a stable climate is not just a nice thing to have. It's absolutely vital in order to have a livable planet for the younger generation and also for future generations. It's vital for security and for peace worldwide. And also, if we're lagging behind, as we're doing right now, we're also losing out on technologies, on climate jobs that right now our competitors elsewhere in the world are developing. It is time to act. And the member states need to finally agree on the climate neutrality target of 2050. But let's be clear and let's keep in mind that that is not a very ambitious target. We should actually much more follow the Finnish example in being more ambitious, because 2050 is really late. But having targets for a future time anyway is not enough. We need to have concrete measures right now. We need to right now make sure that we will at some point achieve and reach targets. And what better way to use for concrete measures than to use our long-term budget? This is where we decide where we put our money. So we should put the money where our mouth is. So that means that we should have an MFF that invests in renewable energies and in ecological agriculture, and not right now as it is foreseen for agricultural mass production and for fossil fuels. We need to change the priorities. If we don't change where the money goes, then nothing will change of the actual policies. The EU has to play its fair part in a fair transition, and that also needs resources for the European Union. Else we have a lot of demands, but not the resources in order to implement them. And that's why we as Greens fully subscribe to the Parliament's position of it having at least 1.3% of the GNI as the overall amount. But on the income side as well, we need to be sustainable. And a plastic tax or a carbon border adjustment tax is not just a revenue. It can really be a means of how to shape policies and how to make sure that we have policies that protect the environment, but also support a fair transition. And of all of these elements, the European Council can, but also really should deliver. Because in order to stay credible, the EU has to lead with ambitious targets, and we have to deliver them at home. And when, if not now? So I wish all the best luck to the Finnish presidency in that, and really hope that all the groups here can contribute, who have governments, that they can actually play their role and contribute to that and say yes to climate neutrality, yes to an ambitious MFF, and not just continue business as usual. Thank you.